Good morning, everyone. It's January 19th, and it's cold outside here in Ohio. It's about 28 degrees. I'm here in the Dewey drome. I have a little journey to go on today. I'm going to take you guys with me. We're going to go over to Troy, Ohio, to the Waco Museum. I need to go take some pictures of something real quick. So I'm going to take the Champ over. I got to preheat the airplane. So this is what I do when I preheat. I got this idea from my friend Kelly. And normally I use like a little ceramic heater or a torpedo heater or something like that. But we're going to go something simple, and that's what we start with. We start with a hair dryer. So your everyday house hair dryer. I have a blanket. I got a couple towels. And an extension cord. I'm going to start preheating the airplane. I'm going to go over to my house, eat some breakfast. Come back in about 15 to 20 minutes, and we should be able to start the engine. Right now, we'll have a very difficult time starting without preheat. So let's get to it. All right, so I get the hair dryer into cowling. Not on any wiring or anything like that, just blowing some hot air up into the cowling. Cover up these inlets here so air will not come out the front. Try to get it to cycle through the engine cowling, heat the oil, heat the cylinders really, so the airplane will start, okay? Now I can pre-flight. I'll give this about 20 minutes and then to a half an hour. Like I said, I'm gonna run over to the house real quick. I just put some fuel in it and I topped it off here. Where we're going, it's probably like 30-35 miles away. I'm not quite sure. I'll look at it on a map, but here's the fuel gauge, and then here's the compass. And we can come up here. I can show you a couple different things. There's the elevator trim. Here's aft, forward, neutral. When I'm taking off, I'll have it about right in there, just a little bit of down elevator. Here's another quick thing. The magneto switch, left, right, and both. Carburetor heat, fuel shutoff, throttles. I'm not sure if I showed you guys this in my other videos, but here's throttle back here. This is a ELT and emergency locating transmitter. If something would happen, it'd crash. You can see here that this weight will push that switch forward and activate the ELT. They don't make those anymore. I wish they did for the antique airplanes. And then just our regular instrumentation, altimeter, oil temp, oil pressure. It's like a turn slip indicator, and then airspeed primer. So pretty simple. And here's the cabin heat, which isn't much of anything. We've got our windows here. It slides open. They slide open when you don't want them to anyway. Very basic airplane. The control stick, you can see here, left and right. Got our elevator, forward and back. And what's kind of cool, you can see here, here's the cables for the ailerons. Runs right through the fuselage. There's something in the Champ, if you guys never pre-flighted the Champ, but these little tubes right here, this is the pitot static system. So here's the pitot, as the air, we pick up speed, the air hits this little flapper, pushes this open, and then allows air to go in. And then here's the static port. And it's kind of hard to see, but there's very little holes on the very back side of this static port, and you're not going to be able to see it. But pretty simple system. It runs up into the wing, just like this. Alright, and goes into the instruments, which is, you know, pitot static. You're going to end up operating a couple different instrumentation, which is going to be your airspeed and also your altimeter. That's where the pitot static comes into effect. Alright, I'm going to clean the windows here, and I use this Plexus glass cleaner or anti-glass, whatever it is. This for plexiglass. You can get it at Sun and Fun, Oshkosh, at Banyan Air, probably Sporties, Wicks, Aircraft Spruce. But this stuff is really good for these Champ windows, Cub windows, T-Crafts. You should try it out. Alright, I have the Champ outside. It's still covered up. Since it's so cold, we'll keep it covered up as long as I can. Last minute to start it. I actually preheated it for probably about 40 minutes. Man, it's nice and warm. You can feel the top of the cowling. It's nice and warm. Warm air was coming out of the bottom of the cowling, so it's getting a good circulation there. When I'm by myself, I tie the airplane down. When I built my hangar and put this little pad in, I have some tie downs here that goes down about 20 inches down in the ground or so. Just got a hook here, you guys can see. Just hook that in there, it'll be like that. And I'll tie it off to the tail wheel. All right, when you're flying an airplane like this in this cold weather, it's a lot of work, as you guys can see. Since I'm going somewhere, I'm going over to Troy to the Waco Museum. I'm taking extension cord, taking the hair dryer. I'll keep that with me just in case the engine got too cold. I can preheat it again. Also, I'm going to prop the engine from the back of the engine, so I'll end up showing you that. I end up taking the blanket off. I checked the oil and everything beforehand. Well, these cylinders are nice and warm, and down in here is warm. Everything's nice and warm, so it should start pretty easy. Alrighty, I'm up and running in the airplane. I just untied the tail, and good oil pressure. You guys can see that thing started on the first crank. Here we go. Alright, I'll just do a normal run up here. Cigar check like I've always talked about. Controls, instruments, gas, airplane stuff, my seatbelt's on, my trim is set. Seatbelt switches, my passengers are good. I don't have any. And then I'm already getting a lot of cold air between the door here, so what I'm going to do is put my gloves on, and then we'll do a run up here. So I'm going to bring it up to about 1600 RPM. Check each mag. If you guys don't know what magnetos are, it's our spark generator. Like old cars have magnetos. So this airplane has two ignition systems. We shut one ignition system off. We turn the other one on. Then we turn back on, or both back on, and then shut the other one off. It should keep running. You'll get a small drop in RPM, but then it still should run pretty good. You shouldn't get much of an RPM drop, actually, about maybe 50 RPMs, I would say, 75 at the most. If not, then you probably have a magneto off or getting weak. If you have a car, you know, they only have one ignition system, so ignition quits, car quits. Airplane, it doesn't work that way. That's redundancy. All right, so run up is complete. It's current time. Probably 11, man, it's 11:24. I actually been out at the hangar. I've been messing around with this for almost an hour and 25 minutes, so. Okay, here we go, we're gonna take off, full power, nice cool air, this thing's gonna jump off the ground. Got stick pull forward, tail's up off the ground already. Really, she's ready to go flying. I'm maybe about 300 feet down the runway, let's go. There we go, get a little crab, pull back trim. Climb out at 60 miles an hour. I got to crab a little bit to the right here. So the winds are coming a little bit out of the southwest. But boy, she's climbing good. Not bad for 65 horsepower, huh? Since the wind's coming out of the southwest or the west, it's going to take me a little while to get over to Troy. Go ahead and turn out this way, out towards the north. It snowed the last couple days. It's been real light snow, but you can see it's still down on the ground, cold. When you have snow about, I don't know, maybe up to about 2 or 3 inches of snow, I could still fly the Champ without any skis, so it's pretty nice.
Here I am, Cedarville's off my right here, just Cedarville, Ohio. This is only about 7 miles from my place. And I'm going to keep heading a little bit to the northwest. We're going to see Springfield Airport. We're going to kind of go a little bit south of Springfield, a little bit north of Yellow Springs. And then we'll cross over I-70. And I'll turn a little bit more to the west. I have to go under Dayton airspace there, which is the shelf is at 2,400 feet. So I got to stay below that, which is no problem. Right now I'm flying around 1,700 feet. I'm about 700 feet above the ground right now. I have my power pulled back to about 2,150 RPM. This is what I normally cruise at. And I'm indicating actually pretty good. I'm indicating 90. And I'm not sure what the ground speed is, but it feels like I'm going fast. Might just be because I'm low. It's a beautiful day out here. The last couple days here in Ohio was not so nice. Visibility is low, cold, windy, rainy, snowy, sleety. You know, typical Ohio weather. Be wearing shorts probably next week. So, as you can see, winter flying in one of these airplanes does take some work. I have a friend, he keeps an airplane over at another airport. He has Wi-Fi on his receptacles, so he can actually plug in his airplane, keep it on, and then whenever he wants to go fly, he just turns on the receptacle through his cell phone. It turns on his heater. He has a one of those heater pads that you can attach to an oil tank. So do that for about 2 or 3 hours, and it heats up your oil. If you actually cover up your cowling, kind of like I did before you leave your hangar, you could cover it up with a blanket, put plugs in the front, everything like that. It holds that heat in. Once that element starts heating up and everything, then man, you can really get these airplanes kind of toasty and nice and preheated really well. For me, I live so close now, just right next door. It's pretty simple. I just go over next door, hook it up. Takes me about 10 or 15 minutes. I can leave for about, you know, half an hour or so. Preheats, pull the airplane out, go around and fly. All right, so I'm a little bit south of Springfield, and this is Yellow Springs here. I'm about 700 feet off the ground. I decided to kind of go around Springfield. I see some traffic out there flying around, and I don't want to really get in the way. I don't have a radio. I could have flown right over top of it, you know, maybe 2,500 feet or so, but it's probably a bit better. Only takes me about 4 or 5 extra minutes here to just go around. Plus, it's kind of nice to look down here at Yellow Springs. I hang out here all the time. See these lakes out in front of me, these ponds? I know if I stay a little bit to the east of those ponds and then to the north of them, it keeps me away from Wright-Patterson airspace, which is a Class Delta airspace. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cross over the highway and then start heading a little bit more to the west once I get past these lakes. I believe a Class Delta is a 4.4 mile radius. So this is probably about 4.6. I'm like right on the edge of it. This is Enon, Ohio on my left. Springfield's out to the right. This is I-70 that we're crossing over as we speak. Not sure if you can see it, but there's Wright-Pat right out there into the runway. So I just started turning a little bit more west. I'm going to fly over New Carlisle. Once we get to New Carlisle, pick up some railroad tracks. All right, you guys can see the railroad tracks here. This railroad track's going to take us right to the Waco Museum. And my camera is starting to go dead. And so I'll have to use my other camera. I'm going to just follow these railroad tracks in, and then I know the winds are out of the south. So what I'll do, I'll enter a left downwind for the south runway. So I'm going to go ahead and start planning on my descent here. Really, I'm about traffic pattern altitude where I want to be right now. All right, I'll enter this left downwind. Another thing, when you're flying an airplane in this temperature, you know, Champ Cub with the carburetors, I want to stay fairly close to the airport in case the engine quits. They get cold, they can quit pretty easily. So I'm on a downwind. I'm going to turn on my carburetor heat. That's going to use the warm exhaust, pump it right back into the carburetor. It will melt any ice or anything that might be developed or developing. On the downwind now, I can see that the wind is blowing from the right to the left, a little crosswind, holding a little crab here. You can see I'm turning my base here. Like I said, I like keeping the airplanes nice and close. I don't have flaps, but when you learn how to fly, you start to learn how to fly with all your flight controls. So I'll do a slip. When I get a little lower, and a slip allows me to lose altitude without gaining any airspeed, really. So I'm indicating about 65. I got a little bit of power in. I'm going to pull the power back all the way. There's some balls in the power line there. I have plenty of altitude. If I lost an engine, I can make this real easy. Now I'm going to just slip it into the wind. I'll drop the right wing, put a little left rudder in it. Keep the pitch coming down. Once I get down here, now I can just take the slip out, hold it off the runway as much as I can. There you go. Full stick. I'm taxiing on grass. I always like having the stick all the way back also. I'm here to take some photos for some friends that's restoring a Waco, and told me that there's a Waco here that has some pretty original stuff, so it's kind of important that they try to get as much information and document it as much as possible so they can rebuild it. So I'm going to pull this right up on their tarmac, just in case I might have to preheat this. All right, I think we're here. I'll go ahead and shut her down with the magnetos.
So I'm here. I'm going to cover this thing up with the blanket, like I said. And I want to also enclose the, put these rags in here to hold all the heat in that I can. All right, got the blanket on, tucked in. Not anything too difficult there. So here I am at the Waco Museum. This isn't where they built the Wacos. The Wacos were built actually down the road a good bit, but they got this property you guys can see here. We got a nice model airplane field over there, and like twice a year they have a fly-in. So let me grab my my phone. I got my mask. Shut my door here.
All right, here we go. That was a nice little short visit for the Waco Museum there. Kind enough to let me take a whole lot of pictures there. Gotta get the gloves on. Everything is like before. I have full right aileron into the wind, full power, stick full forward. Bellows up off the ground. Nice cool air. We're ready to go flying. There she goes. A little bit up trim. Climb out at 60 miles an hour. See you, Waco. don't know if you guys can see it, but the drone is right over there. I'll turn on my carburetor heat right now. Bring my power back, start slowing it down. Indicating 65 miles an hour. You've heard me say it many times before, landing a tail dragger is not a bad thing to land tail first. If you can get the tail to touch down just a millisecond before the main gear, it's not bad. So I'm showing about 60 now. There's 50, 45, and we're not even to the half of my runway yet. Put on a little bit of brakes, turn it around, taxi back.
All right, that wraps up the day in the Champ. We flew over to Troy, Ohio to the Waco Museum. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Showed you guys how to preheat. Thanks to Kelly, he showed me the hair dryer. If it wasn't for that, I would have been using this. I would have wrapped the cowling up with blankets and had this blowing from about 5 or 6 feet away from the airplane. I'll show you guys that in a later video, what I do on preheating and different ways you can preheat. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. You just don't want to catch your airplane on fire. Anyway, I'm glad you guys went with me. Hope you enjoyed. And all you people learning how to fly, tail draggers, conventional gear, tail draggers, tricycle gear, whatever. Hope you guys continue to enjoy what you're doing. And until then, blue skies.